Sir, can I ask you a question?
Please.
I see that you're a first-generation American. Can I ask you, do you speak Italian? And where are you going to find good Italian food in Fairfield County?
Okay, now, the second question I'm going to ask you. The first, yes, I was raised in an Italian-speaking household. My mother and father were both immigrants. My sister was born in Italy. I'm the only American born in my family. And my nephew is somewhere here. Of course, he's second generation, so Dominic's in the back. He's also, of course, born in the United States with my niece. So I do speak Italian fairly well. Growing up, Mom and Dad spoke a dialect. And when I went to Rome, I studied as a priest. And my Italian was a dialect of Italian. So I had to unlearn that and learn Italian as I guess it should be spoken. But I do speak it fairly well. And the restaurants, any suggestion you have, I'm open to it. Let me know. Please.
I wonder if you could tell us what you think the biggest challenge is as you come into this particular diocese with its history.
Well, I must confess, being here less than 24 hours, I need to learn a great deal about the diocese. It has tremendous strengths historically. I mean, next week the diocese will be celebrating its 60th anniversary, and it's 60 proud years of service in the name of the Lord. I think the challenges here in Bridgeport perhaps are universal challenges. The challenge of evangelization. I said it before, we have good news to share. And as I said to the young people in Rio, we have the best of news to share. And we don't always do it effectively, perhaps in part because there's a lot of noise in the modern world. Sometimes God whispers, it's not easily heard. So if you were to ask me, coming in tabula rasa, what would be the concerns I have? To invite everyone to become evangelizers, to be witnesses to the gospel, to invite people of goodwill, to know what we know, he who we know, he whom we love. And my love is for young people, is to invite young people in the very difficult time in which we live. I mean, I'm 54 years old. When I look back on when I was raised, it is a different world. And being young and trying to be faithful is extremely difficult. The challenges are enormous. And therefore, to the extent that I and we could help our young people to find what we have already found, would be a major priority.
Given the years of when the diocese did face big challenges with priest sexual abuse, and of course, Bishop Laurie dealt with this very effectively, but, I wonder if you feel that there's sort of a shroud of this legacy that still hangs on the diocese, if you will.
Well, in my sense, the way I would see it is, it's a question of trust. It's a question of trust. Is that when trust is broken, it takes a while to rebuild that trust. And perhaps now, 11 years after, we are still working to rebuild trust among some individuals who may have felt as if that trust certainly was broken and therefore needs to be mended and healed. But I have to say this, Archbishop Laurie should be commended for the work that he did. He was a national leader in making sure our children are protected, and every bishop in this country stands committed to do exactly the same thing. Please, Eddie.
Bishop Frank, how did you learn that you were going to be the Bishop of Bridgeport?
I received a call at 4:45 3 weeks ago. And as I was telling Monsignor Doyle, I first honestly thought it was a joke. I thought it was one of my classmates. Because there have been rumors, and you know how it is, rumors and more rumors. Thank God I didn't say what I wanted to say. It was 3 weeks ago. And it was a phone call, and he asked if I'd be willing, and certainly I'm willing, I am eager. I said to him I would do it, and anything the Holy Father asks, and it would be an honor and a privilege for me to serve here in Bridgeport.
And then you are told that you have to keep this a secret.
Yes.
Is that the difficult thing to do?
Yes. Well, it was just very few, I guess, who knew. And then the timing of the announcement, because I was away in Rio de Janeiro, that complicated the issue, so it took a bit longer to have it announced. But it came out of the blue. It really came out of the blue. And thanks for coming from Brooklyn, Ed. Please.
Being in Rio, what are your impressions on the Holy Father now? He hasn't been Pope for long, but what are your thoughts on him and perhaps a new chapter in the church or
He is a great gift to the church. You know, every pope brings gifts that are needed in the time and age in which he's called to serve through the guidance of the Holy Spirit. As I said before, Pope Francis has given a remarkable opportunity for people, even who do not believe, to take a second look at the church through his humility, his simplicity, and he has a way of connecting in the heart that is a tremendous, it's an inspired gift. I saw it with the young people. I mean, the enthusiasm with the young people. When he came down the boulevard, the tears, the joy, the dancing, he's almost like a grandfather to them, but not a distant grandfather. And in his gestures and his symbols, which are authentic. There's no showmanship there. They are authentic. Is allowing people to realize that our God, first and foremost, is a loving God who will reach out to you wherever you are. In my catechesis in Rio, I said to the young people, there's a part of your heart that probably is shrouded. There's secrets you're carrying in your life that you desperately want no one to know. There's a part of you that you think is ugly and no one will love. And the Lord knows all your secrets, has seen all your shadows, and loves you as you are. The Holy Father is absolutely brilliant in allowing people to feel that as well as know it. And to the extent that I could follow in a small way his footsteps, I would be very grateful to the Lord. And we also bear the same name, but that's another thing. Any other questions?
You were born on Easter. Does that have any special significance to you in your ministry?
Yeah, my mother never let me forget it. For my mother, it was a great sign. Great sign. When I announced I wanted to be a priest, my father was furious. My mother was thrilled, absolutely thrilled. And yeah, my mother, yeah, she saw it as a great omen. Perhaps it was. Also, my doctor never let me forget that I ruined his Easter dinner. I was born at 1:40 in the afternoon, right when pasta would have been served. Other questions?
Just
Please.
Yeah, one last question. Sir, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, like the casual man, the kind of things that you enjoy? Do you enjoy football? What kind of things entertain you?
I am an avid Met fan. So I'm a man of hope. My hobbies, I like to do, believe it or not, I like to do manual labor. I love painting and I love wallpapering. So, but I don't, sir, I'm sorry. At home, working with carpentry, stuff like that. Because my father was a longshoreman. My brother-in-law, God rest him, my brother-in-law died very young. Dominic's father died at 54 from lung cancer. He was a contractor. So the more manual it is, I love gardening. I find that to be a tremendous release. Plus it has a beginning, middle, and end, you know, when you get your job done. And I also like to read. Very much so. Any other thoughts? I thank you for the questions. Please.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book, oh, it's interesting. The book that changed me the most, growing up, was the trilogy, The Lord of the Rings. I read it for the first time in freshman year in high school when I went to Regis. I read it every summer after, and I think it's a brilliant, brilliant parable of many of the themes, the basic themes of Christian life. And it also opened up my imagination. And imagination is an underutilized road to faith. To faith. So those would be 3 favorite books.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's one more. Bishop Laurie, when you lived in the United States, had 2 dogs. Do you have pets?
No, I don't. One of the basic rules in the Caggiano house, my father allowed no pets. No, I don't. Yes, he had Barnes & Noble, I understand. Yes. They're famous, by the way. Well, I thank you all. I thank you, yes? Any other questions? I look forward to meeting you individually. We'll have plenty of time together. But I thank you all for coming. Want to see you?